And those photos that you just saw were taken by this man, Jack Zakra, otherwise known as
Jack Zakra is my full name.
Because I can't say his full name, and I will not butcher names. Not on this channel. We respect the fact that I can't say names on this channel. So myself and Jack and a bunch of other people, we decided we're gonna go to Moab, Utah. Well, Jack decided that we're gonna go to Moab, Utah to do some astrophotography. So I thought it would be a great chance to discuss astrophotography because Jack takes amazing astro photos.
Yeah, I mean, let me just touch base into like why we chose Moab, Utah. I guess so if you're in the US, you mainly know Arches National Park. And it's just the perfect place for astro. Typically, there's a bunch of rock formations that create arches or different kind of like structures. And what's nice about that is if you got any like wind or anything, it's not gonna matter during these astro shots.
Now let's jump into the real meat and bones of this video, which is astrophotography. So starting off with astrophotography, if you don't know, is taking pictures of the universe and seeing the stars in its beautiful, amazing, surreal way that I cannot describe in words. You just have to see it and it's amazing. But with astrophotography, there comes a few things that you need to do to prep beforehand to get started, and Jack sat us down and gave us the full lowdown. But for you guys, he's gonna give it to you again because he wants you guys to just get the bangers, the sweet, sweet bangaroonies.
Of course.
So, Jack, what is the first thing we need to be aware of what is the first thing we need to be aware of when we do astrophotography?
Yeah, so every like astro guy is gonna just do everything incredibly different in terms of their process, but this is just mine. So the first thing I do before I like leave for Moab is just check the weather for like the moon phases. You know, you wanna go on a day where there's zero moon, because if the moon will pour too much light into the night sky, where it will create that like separation between you and the stars, and then there's gonna be completely clear skies. So you remove the moon and then you remove that cloud layer, then you are gonna be able to have that ability to be able to see the stars at its maximum capability. Also got to choose a location, so we did delicate, but choose a location where you're as far away from light pollution as possible. What light pollution is light that lingers in the air, and you just want to stay away from that as well.
That is going to be the first foundational steps to make sure you get bangers.
Yeah,
exactly, astrophotography.
Exactly.
So yeah, we reached Moab. What is your next step?
I prefer to get to my destination almost like an hour before sunset. I give myself quite a lot of time. The reason for that is, first off, I get there and I give myself a breather. You just hiked. The second thing is kind of just figuring out where that Milky Way. So there's different apps. I can't remember what they're called, but they'll just like kind of like show you where the Milky Way is going to land in the time. So you find the locations that you want. You find where the Milky Way is going to land based on the time, and then you just start preparing these different locations, and you start mentally preparing. Yeah.
The word he's looking for is shortlisting.
Yeah. Filmmakers.
So after you get to location and you've done your shot listing, now what do you carry in your camera bag? Because I'm a big of a heavy loader person, but what do you take on specifically for astrophotography?
For me, I just have this like kind of crappy little tripod I bought off Amazon. I run a Canon R6, but the pride and joy of this entire astro experience is the Canon RF 15-35 2.8. That lens is just so phenomenal for this.
Right. How do you actually go about the process of framing and getting the photo? Because it is dark. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go to a place that has no light pollution, unless you're from like the country and you're used to it, it is dark.
Yeah.
It's darker than my dreams.
Yeah.
And my childhood.
Yeah. So basically it's pitch black. So framing it is pretty hard because you're kind of disoriented and it's hard to see the different subjects that you got in it. So what I do is that I'll point it towards the subject. So that was the arch. And just to start framing it, I'll crank the ISO up and raise my shutter to like 30 seconds or so, just to get enough light to light that subject and then start just framing it until I like it perfectly. But once you get that framing right, then it's the real settings. So then what I do is I will run about max 15 seconds, but I try to keep it around 8 to 10. So we'll say 10 seconds and then 2.8. Yeah. And then I would just focus speak. So there's this thing called focus peaking, which is you move your focus ring until you see red dots up in the sky. And what that's doing is showing you that the stars are in focus. So once you got the stars in focus, and then just do a couple shots.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a camera with peaking, like aka my Canon 750D, the way you can tweak about focus peaking and get it is if you have a monitor. Most of those have focus assist, and then from there you can do focus peaking. So if you don't have focus peaking, that is your best solution. Otherwise, you're playing a lucky guessing game of going,
Yeah, you're just moving your focus ring every 2 seconds trying to find the stars, and it's miserable. So find a way to do the peaking for sure.
Obviously, as you start to get into your astrophotography journey and you start taking more photos, you will also start to see more astrophotography and start to study it. And you'll probably start to notice a trend that is very common with most things in photography and filmmaking, and that is repetition of the exact same frame. And with the number of locations that don't have light pollution becoming ever so small, you'll also probably start seeing that the exact same locations are being used for those photos. And that is when you want to start adding different elements into your photos and videos, such as different props, different subjects, or just the way you go about capturing that photo or video. But for our specific example, we decided that it would be a fun time to give Ricardo his arm workout for the century.
Yeah.
Tell us what we did.
Yeah, so like you said, once you go to these like famous locations, like there's only so many different angles that you can get, and then it just becomes the same as everyone else. So you got to separate yourself somehow. Well, my friend Levi Kramer, he lives in the area and we shoot together a lot.
What's up, everybody? Levi Kramer here to teach you some astrophotography. First things first, you're gonna want to set it to f/16, ISO 256,000, and bulb mode. You're gonna hold down the shutter for 18 minutes.
He showed me how to include people with the light source in the frame. So for example, what we did was we had this little lantern. We had someone stand under the arch and hold the lantern up, yeah, aka Ricardo, hold the lantern up like this. And what we did was we just kind of changed our exposure. I think I was running like 2 seconds. I trust my camera enough to pull enough from the stars at 2 seconds, and then also to get Ricardo in frame and, you know, completely still, because 2 seconds is still pretty hard to hold. I think I made you stay still for like almost 8 seconds.
8 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, so
he's saying 2 seconds, and I'm like,
yeah, well, we did.
I was there for like 8
yeah.
like this.
Well, we did 2 to 8 seconds. Yeah, that's the one way we added another dynamic element.
Now, obviously, that's just one side. It's just capturing the image. But as you've seen, my friend here has amazing astro photos, and I would like to know how you pull such beauty from these photos.
If you made it out alive after that astro experience, basically now you're in the editing program. So there's 2 different ways, right? There's one where you can go very Photoshop heavy, or there's people who just use Lightroom. They get one still and they maximize it to the, you know, best capabilities, and that's the option I like doing. So within every photo, every astro photo that you've seen, I don't even touch Photoshop barely at all. It's just that one frame, and then what I do is I use gradients. Gradients are your friends, so I just kind of pull light and color to its maximum capabilities. For me, it's really fun. It's a huge challenge not to do photo merging. That's something I'll do in the future, but right now I just really enjoy, you know, getting that one frame and doing the best you can with it.
So basically, if you
yeah, don't call me fake. That's what I'm trying to say. like I'm just chilling out here in Lightroom, maybe a clone or 2, but that's about it. Like, it's not where I was going. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
okay.
I can't stand it when people are like, "That's a fake Milky Way," and I'm like, "Bro, what do you mean?" Like.
Okay, Ricardo's good. Cool, so that is Jack's process. Now to quickly repeat it, first thing you want to do is location prep. The second thing is to scout the location and make sure you know what you're going to be capturing. So the third thing you want to do is to just focus on getting the framing. Once you have the composition, you start dialing in until you're happy with it. And if you've kind of gotten bored, taking the same astro photo and start adding different dynamic elements to bring your photos to life and just add a different element to the story. And then the final thing is figure out the way you like to edit and manipulate your image. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and thank you, Jack, for sharing all of that astrophotography goodness. Please make sure you go check him out. Link is in the description. He has banger photos outside of just astro. He's just got fantastic photos, and he's just a super cool individual. So please show him some Cine love and just go follow him right now. Spam him.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Ricardo, for giving me a shot to tell your viewers what's up. But yeah,
remember, if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You know, all that funny stuff.
So much energy, bro.
And don't forget to join the Cine community by hitting that subscribe button right now. Thank you so much for doing that. You are amazing, and I love your faces, and I hope you are gonna have, or have had a fantastic day wherever in the world you are right now. I love your faces once more. Goodbye.